Never before with a personal video tribute broadcast on ZIZ television. Come, step in front of our cameras and tell the world just how much she means to you. It's your chance to share your heart, your memories, and your love. She gave you the world. Now give her 30 seconds of pure joy and excitement. Moments for Mom, only on ZIZ. Limited spaces available. Book your tributes now. Give us a call at 465-2621 or email sales@zizonline.com.
She's my mother, and I love her so.
This message brought to you by ZIZ and the Fire Department of St. Kitts and Nevis.
I am Woman Fire Officer Mavis White Archibald with your safety tip for today. Talk with the family members about a fire escape plan and practice the plan twice per year.
This message was brought to you by ZIZ and the St. Kitts and Nevis Fire Department. All right, welcome back to the show. Welcome back to the show right here on ZIZ Radio 96.1. It's now time for our discussion this morning. It's Fire Talk, and let me say good morning to all of the guys. But first, let me make sure all their mics are connected and on. So we're going for my immediate right first. Good morning to you, sir. Introduce yourself.
Pleasant good morning to you. Thanks for having me on your program this morning. My name is Andrew Holder, and I am a fire officer from Guyana.
Next up is a face and a voice you know already.
Good morning, GQ, and good morning, listening audience. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Timothy Martin. I am the Deputy Fire Chief for the St. Kitts and Nevis Fire and Rescue Services.
Next up.
Good morning for all our listeners. My name is Kamaria Jarvis, and I'm from Antigua and Barbuda.
Good morning, listeners.
Wait, hold on a second. Let's make sure we get Mr. Antigua. Go again.
All right. Morning again. My name is Kamaria Jarvis. I'm a fire officer from Antigua and Barbuda.
All right, great. And let's make sure now we're good to go.
Good morning, Officer Winston Farrington from British Virgin Islands.
All right, so Virgin Islands, Antigua, and Guyana represented. We have others here, but just because of the small setup we have for this morning, we're just featuring these officers. But Timothy, can you let them know how much other islands are here?
This is it.
This is it?
Yeah, this is it.
Okay. I thought
we had double persons doubling, so my mind was on other territory.
Oh, okay,
yes,
okay.
This is it.
Okay, good. All right, so I'll let you lead off, Timothy.
Yes, good morning again. We are here yet again celebrating our anniversary, and this year's anniversary for the St. Kitts and Nevis Fire and Rescue Services is 25 years, celebrating 25 years of existence as a separate entity. Now, we want to highlight quickly a few things. One, what we are doing as in the Federation, and then the gentlemen you see here before me, they are part of an association which is CAF, the Caribbean Association of Firefighters. And we just want to talk a bit about that as to why they're here, what is CAF, and how can CAF assist firefighters around the region. All right?
No problem, sir.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So this morning we are having an open day event in the Independence Square. We have some tents erected. You're gonna see persons with the various equipment, uniforms, etc., on display, letting the general public see what we are all about. Asking the general public to come out. It has supposed to be started already. Come out. Feel free to ask questions. There should be some pamphlets around if persons want to take a pamphlet and read up as to some of the do's and don'ts when it comes to fire safety. Fire prevention is one of our major activity not activity. But fire prevention is something that we want everybody to focus on. We think that once persons are trained in what to do in preventing fires, it would make not just the firefighters' job easier, but persons would not be losing their livelihood. When you think about how hard the citizens have to work for a home, for example, and maybe because of not paying attention to the stove, having children playing with matches, anything that can start a fire, then your home goes up in smoke in less than 5-10 minutes. It is not worth it.
Right.
So our efforts are placed on fire prevention measures to mitigate against your home being ruined by fire. In reference to CAF now, Association of Firefighters, we have here our first vice president rather, sorry, and I would let him share about what his portfolio is about, etc., and we could get on with it.
Okay, good morning once again. All right, so again, I'm Kamario Jarvis. So I'm the first vice president for the Caribbean Association of Firefighters, and I have with me the second vice president, Mr. Andrew Holder. Unfortunately, our president, Mr. Corey Bridgman, he could not be here today, so we are going to do our best to try and represent him as well as the rest of the organization, because there are other members who could not make it, unfortunately. So the Caribbean Association of Firefighters started in 2000, and initially it was an amalgamation of different fire service associations throughout the region. However, it has since evolved because Antigua and Barbuda and Guyana, we currently do not have an association. We're in the process of getting that, Antigua specifically, through the process of separating the fire department from the Royal Police Force of Antigua and Barbuda. And in the interim, we have CAF, who represents us and represent other countries where there is no association. So the aim of CAF is to build a brotherhood, represent firefighters, ensuring that they are given what they need in terms of to carry out their day-to-day function, and where they may not have a voice, we provide that voice for them. However, as Mr. Holder would normally say, we don't want to be seen as antagonistic towards governments and administration. We're here to help them. We're here to support them to get the best for firefighters, whether it be in health and safety, training and development, regional integration, and everything to do with firefighting on the whole. That's what we are here for and what we represent. So I am going to pass it on to Mr. Holder so he can go a little bit more in depth in our mission throughout the region.
Thank you, Comrade First Vice President. This is certainly not our first time here in this beautiful island of St. Kitts Nevis. We were here last year spreading the good news of what CAF is all about. CAF was founded on several binding principles, two of which are, as Camario mentioned earlier, building that camaraderie amongst regional Caribbean firefighters. And our very present here this morning, celebrating 25 years with the St. Kitts Nevis Fire Department, is testimony to the fact that we are about building friendship, building brotherhood. One of the other principles that CAF was founded upon was promoting regional integration among Caribbean firefighters. And one of the main aspects of that is training. Currently, the blueprint is being rolled out for the construction and formation of a regional fire training college. The island has not yet been identified. The groundwork is being laid. But what we want is this one premier institution whereby Caribbean firefighters can pursue higher level of learning and education. Most of our Caribbean territories look to further afield, North America, etc., etc. And we're saying that we have the skill set, we have the human resource, we have what it takes to formulate a training base that is organic to us in the region. And so when firefighters from Guyana should come to St. Kitts, we must be able to speak with one language. We must be able to work in unity, and vice versa. Antiguan firefighters must be able to go to Barbados and do the same. So this regional fire training college will definitely foster such unison in training.
Thank you for sharing that. I would like to hear from the British Virgin Islands before we go too far.
Well, just to piggyback on just what Mr. Hola and Mr. Jarvis said, it's all about unity and building a oneness, one Caribbean kind of firefighting. Firefighting togetherness, to say the least. I've been with CAF for quite some time now, and I must say, they always, in whatever decision, if it's like you say, if it's Guyana, Antigua, St. Kitts, wherever, once CAF is associated or once they reach out to CAF, CAF is willing and able and they're ready. Of course, even if it's just one or two representatives, we are going to have representative representing you in terms of getting fire service on a level where, like he said, everybody could come together. I could leave from British Virgin Islands, come on to St. Kitts, and then my guys would be on the same level, same language. And like you say, with the Fire College proposal, once that come on stream, it will make things even much easier for us in terms of getting the awareness out there and getting everybody on the same page.
Let me ask you this, gentlemen. In each of your territories, has the government sanctioned CAF?
I can answer that right off the bat. I could not have gotten out of Guyana to be a part of this had it not been for the blessings and approval of my honorable minister and my cabinet. So yes, CAF is sanctioned by my government.
What I would say is exactly the same thing. Last year when CAF was here, we actually met with the permanent secretary, and he gave us his blessings, assured us that he would make all efforts avail to CAF. So yes, our government is on board with the Caribbean Association of Firefighters.
Definitely, I can say that any CAF event or CAF conference, our government through our fire service has been more than willing to render our services to CAF and vice versa. And as a matter of fact, within Antigua and Barbuda, we are going through a transition as we speak, where we, as fire officers, are transitioning from the Royal Police Force, and CAF has been an integral part of the negotiations and the discussions. As a matter of fact, we actually met with Antiguan officials last week to include the Honorable Attorney General, Mr. Stedroy Cutie Benjamin, the Commissioner of Police, Mr. Everton Jeffers, and the Chief Fire Officer, Mr. Vivian Parker, where we would have had external discussions about the whole process. And I'm proud to say that we are well on our way. I can't tell you when, but it's a process that will happen eventually.
But that's good news. That's good news.
Yes, it is.
And as for BVI, yes, I must say, if it wasn't for the kind funding of British government, of course, we wouldn't be here. You know what I'm saying? So, yes, they are definitely on board with CAF, and of course, they try their best to make sure that funding is available and assistance in terms of getting the awareness and everything out there to the public.
Now, this is your second time here to St. Kitts, right? It's second time.
Yes, sir.
And it's the 25th anniversary. Am I correct?
Yes.
sir.
So why choose to celebrate here in St. Kitts?
Well, the last conference that we had, we were trying to see what we would do for CAF's 25th anniversary. Now, remember, Fire Rescue Services, we separated in 2000. There also was CAF was birthed in 2000. So we share that common bond. Now, CAF was originated in St. Lucia. So it was a bit of toss-up. Should we go back to St. Lucia for the 25th anniversary, or St. Kitts is celebrating 25 years? We have our week of activities already rolled out. Shall we go and celebrate with the St. Kitts Kittitians and St. Kitts and Nevis? Of course, St. Kitts and Nevis won. So
right.
So here we are, both celebrating 25 years of existence.
Now, let's talk a bit about training. You keep That's one thing I'm hearing in unison from everyone, training. Over the years, how has the training been in terms of distribution throughout the islands? Is it each island do their own thing, and then when you meet, you pass on the knowledge and say, well, hey, we're doing this. Oh, we didn't know about that. Or how is that done in terms of training? How do you share the knowledge between each other?
Well, over the years, traditionally, most of the territories, they would engage in their own individual training, whether it be recruit training or in-service training. However, since the birth of CAF and through other organizations, we've been trying to unify that. When we used to have our conferences, we said we need to do a little bit more than just having conference and goodwill games. So a decision was made, Mr. Hall, I think it was about 6 years ago?
Yes.
6 years ago to do training along with the conferences, just not come in for the socialization and the camaraderie, but we're getting something that we can take back to our respective countries. So fire officers, certified trainers and instructors, they would volunteer their services, and we would engage in various trainings. I can remember in Guyana we did high angle rescue, and it was search and rescue in Guyana, among other different types of training. So that is just a platform where we can start this regional process, and we're actually in talks as we speak to expand that to where different sections of the region can specialize in different areas of training, so everybody can capitalize on that.
Piggybacking on that, yes, it is a fact that each territories would embark on their own training programs. Like I mentioned earlier, most of the times we look to North America and further afield for our educational advancement, which is more often than not particularly applicable to the Caribbean region. What we have found out is that when we would have the opportunity to lend assistance to our brother, sister Caribbean territories, you would find a slight difference, a slight variation in our culture, in our approaches, in our operational tactics. For example, in Guyana, there is a piece of equipment that we use to break in, we call it the crowbar. Coming to St. Kitts Nevis, I understand the name for that is a pickfoot.
No. Just to clarify, I think is another territory. They refer to it as
a pickfoot.
Yeah, we draw the relation that things need to be standardized.
Yes, and
so we normally talk about that, but St. Kitts knows a crowbar.
Yes. I've heard it referred to as a pickfoot in some other territory.
Some other territory, yes.
And again, we are saying that the formation or coming into being of a regional fire training college will eliminate all of these differences so that we can be on one level playing field.
British Virgin Islands?
In terms of, Mr. Holler said again, familiarizing yourself with equipments, and not just equipment, tactics, different tactics that you would use, because, for instance, British Virgin Islands might probably come and set up the scene a little bit different than how St. Kitts would do it, or even Antigua. And the thing is, if we have the unified training, then once I take the training from CAF, or I have some of my officers involved in the training, then we could take it back home and then apply it there. So then if by chance, I'm not saying because we don't want any catastrophes or anything like that, but if it was to happen, and then I could deploy some of my officers down to Guyana, and then they won't have to worry what to do or how to do it. And like he said, he can send them for the pigfoot and they know what the pigfoot is. You understand? And versus he say a crowbar and they spin around in circles. So in terms of the training and unison, I think it would be definitely excellent. CAF is definitely going forward with it, and I think we're heading in the right direction.
Permit me to mention this. One of our other programs is approaching CARICOM to petition for the profession of firefighting to be enlisted as one of the CSME recognized profession, so that a firefighter from any part of the region can be a firefighter in every part of the region.
So something like the One Caribbean thing that we have going
Perfect.
on right now.
Yeah,
Okay, okay, I get you.
I mean, this is not too far-fetched, because right now we have a territory who wants to upgrade their category firefighting at their airport. So the process of attaining recruits to train them, etc., to bring their category up to where it is, that might take some time. So what they have opted to do now is to look out around the region, ask for assistance from various firefighting territories to lend support where some of our guys can come over, let's say for a 6 months period, and we work in their territory, and then rotate out when that time has lapsed. So it is not far-fetched that we would be integrating amongst the territory islands.
Thank you.
Well, permit me, guys. We keep mentioning the territory islands, right? So far, I know about British Virgin Islands, Antigua, Guyana, and St. Kitts. How many other countries or islands are a part of CAF?
There are about 13 of us, all of which are not present here today. There is still Barbados, Trinidad and Tobago, St. Lucia, just to name a few, Suriname, French Guiana, Martinique, Dominica. So there are 13 in total.
Do you have any success stories to share? I know you mentioned in terms of getting the organization together, which is one success story that's in itself. But do you have any other success story to share to let the public know the benefits of being a part of CAF?
So in times of natural disasters, one of CAF's role is to lend assistance. I can recall in the year when we went to Dominica.
2016 or 2017?
I think it was 2017.
I think it was 16.
We went to Dominica to lend assistance when they would have experienced that devastation. And you find firefighters from across the region converging on Dominica, helping with cleanup exercise, helping with rebuilding exercise. We actually were involved in manning the shift while regular firefighters in Dominica were given time to go look after their respective families. So this is just one of the benefits of CAF.
Anyone else want to chime in here and share a success story?
I think British Virgin Islands also benefited in 2017 when we had our hurricanes. I think it was Barbados and Antigua sent across officers to actually man the shift, like Mr. Holler said, while other officers could have at least go home and attend to their families or even close relatives on the island. So it's definitely a benefit.
Let me ask this for everyone in firefighters. When you hear the term firefighter, you just think about guys out in fire. Well, what are your duties?
Well, our primary objective is to protect life and property. So fire suppression is the after part of it. Once we get to a scene and we size up the scene, we ensure that there are no lives in the building. If they are, that's our primary objective. So we create a rescue path and we do our primary search to ensure that we get those persons out. And once we get them, then our second focus becomes to protect the property and the nearby properties. And then the suppression is the last part of our. We also focus on search and rescue, as my colleagues would say, in terms of disaster. Firefighters or the fire departments within their respective territories are the lead agents in search and rescue. But we do get support from the military and the police, EMS, emergency medical services, and other organizations such as the Red Cross. But throughout the region, and I'm glad that we are mentioning this, there's an organization called RSS, which is responsible for regional security, that is more a police and a military base. What CAF is aiming to do is to become that organization for firefighters, so we could coordinate and organize firefighters, deploy them, and ensure that whenever they go to wherever, their health and safety is priority. So that is what we are aiming to do as a regional body, to ensure that our fire officers and our sister islands get the support that they need.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because not only in the Caribbean but the world over has this myth that as long as there's no fire, firefighters lie in their bed and sleep or plays domino all day, you know. This is far, far-fetched from the truth.
You have that myth over
Yes,
there?
yes, yes.
In Antigua as
This
well?
is far from the truth. I can speak to our responsibilities in Guyana, which is universal. First, one of our role is to protect lives and property from the destruction of fire, aid in the sick and injured, and to render humanitarian service and special service. And these three pillars are very, very broad. You'd be amazed as to some of the things that firefighters are called upon to lend assistance. Rendering humanitarian service and special service, for one. We've responded to a cat get stuck in a tree. We've responded to a hearse get stuck in a ditch, in a trench. We've responded to...
Hold on a second. I hate to interrupt you, but I thought that would happen in the movies.
Well, we are movie stars. We are movie stars. We've responded to an individual threatening to take her own life, and we have to be there. We've responded to someone gets locked out from their home. They want you to do an approved break and enter for them. So many things. And when we are not actively engaged in these activities, we are constantly enhancing our skill set by training, internal training. So a firefighter's job is never done.
How often do you exercise or implement training a year? Once a year, twice a year? How often do you do it?
That depends on the level of training, because for us, training is an everyday ongoing activity. Every day. We have 3 shifts. And every morning you come into work, your first responsibility is to check out your vehicle, make sure that it is roadworthy and everybody's in good shape and health to work. After that, training begins. The only thing that interrupts training is if and when there's an emergency call for you to respond. Other than that, training is every day, all week, all month, all year. There are times when we would embark on planned programs,
Right.
like a mass casualty event or some planned training program. But other than that,
As we would say, in-house training.
in-house training.
And that encompasses lectures as well. So it doesn't mean that every day you have to be out in the air doing something. Just meeting together, going through different topics, firefighting topics, becoming affair with the various techniques, and so that is utilized. All of that is considered training.
And also just to mention on the training part of it, especially when it comes to the medical part of it, because there are some firefighters who are EMTs and paramedics also. And I tell you, with that field, for instance, you might be doing something this way this week and it could change next week. Okay, so in terms of training and just keeping abreast with the standards, you have to
The trend of the day.
yes, you
Yeah,
definitely
yeah.
have to stay on top of your game when it comes to training. Training is number one.
I'm sensing Antigua's the only one in the room right now that you might have extra duties because you're still attached to the police force.
Yes, we are.
Yes.
So, I'm not going to use the term unfortunately, because nothing that happens in life is unfortunate. Whether it's good or bad, it all helps to make us who we are and make us stronger. So we currently we're part of the Royal Police Force, so we are called upon. As a matter of fact, let me do it this way. We're all police officers, and myself and Miss Roberts, we're police officers attached to the fire department. So our primary objective should be policing. However, we prioritize firefighting, which we find that to be a wonderful thing, because firefighting is our first love. And when I got to the fire service 17 years ago, or rather when we got to the fire service, I was actually a regular police officer. And I was sent to the fire service by accident. Again, nothing happens by accident. And I spent about 2 hours at the fire station. And a senior officer, Mr. Rodney, he met me. He told me I looked like a chicken without my mom. So
You're that young.
yes, I was that young. So he told me that, the primary difference between firefighting and policing is usually after it happened. They're trying to figure out what happened, why it happened, when it happened. Whereas with firefighting, we have the opportunity to make a difference as it's ongoing. And that was enough to say, this is what I wanted to do.
Let me ask you this, though. How the public, how do they respond to you? Because from my understanding, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, sometimes you're at a scene, a fire scene, but you have onlookers, and you need to, form a perimeter, if I can use that term, in terms of keeping people away so you can get your job done. Here in St. Kitts, you have to have the police officers doing that for you and the firefighters doing the thing. But you being firefighter and police officer, can you do that, and how do the public?
Well, yes, we can, but what we do, instead of antagonizing the public because everybody's curious and some of them, it's their loved ones who are at risk, we utilize them, we say, look, we need space to perform our operations. If you can assist us by just creating that perimeter and keeping persons off the fire scene. And when you empower people, you tend to get a lot more out of them that say, hey, come off the scene, man, move from there. That's not how that's not how we function as firefighters. And even though they're aware that we're police officers, that level of force is not utilized, because firefighters, we're seeing most of the public looks at us as superheroes, that we can do anything, because they're running from whatever is happening, we are going towards it. But most people forget that we're still human beings as well. But during that time, we have to be strong for them, and not only for them, but for our fellow officers on the scene.
I got you.
I'm glad that you asked that question. I just recently commanded a major operation in Guyana, whereby the public didn't just converge on the scene, wanting to get first-hand information and first-hand glimpse, but the public was also preventing firefighting from happening. And so my approach at that scene was to educate them. I said to them, look, you see that thick black smoke emanating from that building, and you all are standing right there? That is poisonous to your health. It may not affect you now, but when you get home tonight or tomorrow, you will feel sick. Just step aside and allow me to access that so I can put it out and make the environment safer for you.
And you don't get a pushback. That's the real question I really want to ask you. You don't get any pushback.
They eventually assisted.
Because sometimes you might put up on some individuals who say, well, you're a firefighter, I don't need to listen to you.
Yeah.
So in this sense of, because here in St. Kitts, the fire department is no longer a part of the police, right? So the mindset is, hey, you're not the police, so you have no jurisdiction, or you can't tell me what to do. So I'm trying to figure out, is that the same thing for you, even though you're a part of the police in Antigua? Maybe I should have formed my question that way.
Well, he's from Antigua, but I'm from BVI. But I just want to piggyback a little bit on what he said earlier. You have to empower them, because at the same time you're trying to help deal with the scenario, and if somebody was to come there rowdy because they want to get in or whatever, and you give them a little task to say, hey, you know what, when that fire truck come up there, I need you to roll out these holes for me. They get so busy in doing that, they're going to ask somebody else now that come in rowdy to help them. So then you get the help you need, and at the same time it prevent them from hampering you from doing your job. So sometimes you have to utilize what you have. And this is something we fire officers learn in training. Scenario could change like that, and then you could you might need a hammer. You don't have a hammer, so you use a rock. You see what I'm saying? So in the instant, yes, him being a police officer, and even back home, forces that come from other Caribbean countries, they will see a fire operation going on and they'll be like, oh, that's a fire police, because that's what they're accustomed to. And BVI, we separated from the police department a while now too. But I'm saying, they look at you as a police, yes, and then you still have the door role to portray. But at the same time, if you were to just give them a little task, keep them busy, they'll be out of your way. They'll have their own operation going on, and then you get to conduct the real major operation that you need to conduct.
And I'm sensing I'm sensing that straight across the board here. Timothy, you're going to say something?
What I wanted to say is, for St. Kitts and Nevis, even though we are separated from the police force, our act still gives us the provision to arrest persons. Now, that arrest comes about when persons are obstructing us from carrying out our duties. However, we don't ever want it to escalate to that point where we are actually going arresting persons. So
Mm-hmm.
what we would try to do as much as possible is to ask persons their cooperation
Mm-hmm.
and to assist us in any way possible. We don't want it to escalate there that we have to jump into that side of our job to arrest persons and so forth.
But you have the authority.
We
to-
have the authority to arrest persons. Under
In
that.
Guyana, it is slightly different. Although we were separated almost 60 years ago.
Wow. that's a
Yeah,
long time.
that's long. We still have an umbrella body we call the Joint Service, which is comprised of the police, the army, the prison service, the fire service.
Right.
And so, in event of major fire disasters, police know their role. Right away, they kick in and they provide a cordon, that secure area that the fire officers can work.
Okay.
And this happens almost automatically.
All right. All right. Gentlemen, we have just about 9 minutes left inside of the program, right? I'm trying to get a sense of what CAF is and how is it beneficial for everyone. And I know we're here this morning to highlight to the public. Now, as we close out, anything you would like to share? I know we have the activities, week of
I
activities.
just want
going on.
to briefly highlight the rest of that after that question is being answered.
Right, okay.
Sorry, question again.
No, anything else you would like to share as it relates to highlighting CAF?
For the other countries or other islands that are not on board, CAF is welcoming you to come right on along.
There you go.
Because at the same point, if we were to just say Haiti is not a part of us, and we need to go there and help with whatever resources we have, we're ready and willing to do so. So for the other neighboring islands out there, definitely I think CAF is the way to go in terms of unified firefighting throughout the Caribbean.
Well, we spoke about the different countries and governments that would have assisted us along the way, but there are other persons in the background who would have provided some assistance, advice from a legal perspective, from a financial perspective. So I just want to highlight those because even though they're not firefighters, they would have played a major role in getting us where we need to be. So I'd just like to shout out the legal team in Antigua and Barbuda, Ms. Thomas, Mrs. Jarvis. Shout out the financial team, Miss John, Miss Sandy, Miss Watts, and shout out to Liat 2020, who would have assisted us in getting here. Without them, we probably would have still been in Antigua. So I just wanted to highlight those persons that are working behind the scenes to assist CAF and will continue to assist us as well. Sponsor?
Yes. Like my colleague mentioned in closing, I want to say to those territories who are not on board as yet that CAF, there's a space for you on CAF. There is strength in unity. We live in a time whereby the dangers that are presented to our everyday survival is not constant. Firefighting is not constant. Every day, new construction material change, different threats to our environment changes. And so having access to this information and knowledge, sharing it, and having being equipped with the approaches of how to combat these different challenges that life presents is very important. And so you can learn from us, we can learn from you. There is strength in unity.
Can I say well bowled, Mr. Holder?
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so for me, GQ, I think the guys said a mouthful as to the expectation of CAF, etc. So I would just like to use the last few minutes to highlight the rest of the week of activities. So tomorrow, our road leads to Nevis. All road leads to Nevis, so we would have we would be leaving St. Kitts around 9:30. We should be over there by, let's say, 10 o'clock. We would have a tour. We'll let the visiting territories get a tour of Nevis. After that, we would set up for some cricket at the El Camino Willett Park. Then that would be roughly after the tour might be about an hour and a half to 2 hours. Then we settle down for some cricket at the venue. After that, in the evening, we're gonna open the vocal cords a bit. All right, and that would be in Cotton Ground. We'll be having our what do you call it, karaoke night.
Yeah.
Some you should hear some of these guys, man. Yeah, singers. So then the following day, which would be Thursday, we would have the run through town. This would be at around 9 o'clock. Starting at 9 o'clock, we would take a jog through town. Again, the terrain that we will be traveling is from the fire station down Sandong Road onto the Bay Road, heading west. Then we'll go up 4th Street. Then we'll turn west onto Cairns Street, go down Church Street, take a east onto Liverpool Road, back up 4th Street, heading east onto Cairns Street again, heading back to the station.
Okay.
It's not a race. We just jogging through the street, letting the general public see the fire department in their numbers. Thankfully, our numbers would be significantly increased. We have the Antiguans. Hopefully, my good friend Mr. Holder
Yes,
and the
I'll be
other
there.
personnel would be there jogging along with us.
I'll be there.
If you can't jog, then we'll have persons there, a vehicle there to take you along as well. We are inviting the general public to come on out. This is not just about firefighting. The whole community is firefighters as well. In keeping your premises safe, keep the whole federation safe. All right. So we are encouraging the general public to come on out and share with us in that venture. Then, so that's the run. After that, now after the run, these guys would be able to tour St. Kitts now. So we're gonna go around the island, showing them the historical sites, visits to the different stations, getting them getting them involved in what we have to offer as a federation. The Friday, that is the day, that is competition day. That is when we set aside friendship a bit and we put on our boxing gloves and we go pound for pound.
No comments.
So this would be held at in front of the Bay Road, in front of Rams, just there in front of the roundabout. So we're looking to utilize that whole space between there. We'll have our the competitions, firefighting competition, activities such as the endurance drill, the one-man drill, the 5-person drill. We are going to have our fire truck pull. I see some Antigans look very bulky, you know.
You sound intimidated.
No, not at all, GQ, not at all. But I'm just welcoming the competition. So. Game on, all right? Bring it.
You see that you shake it off, you know.
So yes. So that should be exciting, GQ. So we're asking the general public again, come on out, support the firefighters, both regional and our local firefighters, in terms of getting that competition supported.
Gentlemen, thanks for using the platform to get the word out, and I wish all the best to all of your endeavors and initiatives that you all are planning. Timothy?
Tomorrow, Saturday, Sports Day, that will be up at the Newtown Playing Field. And then on Sunday again, we're closing it off with a dinner for the officers.
All right, man.
Tonight we're having a movie night over at the Frigate Bellon. We're going to try set up a big, nice Jumbotron. So the general public as well could drive on out, park up, and enjoy a movie with the firefighters.
All right,
we
man.
welcome that.
All right. Guys, that's it. We are out of time. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. We didn't get a chance to take any calls this morning, but that's okay. We'll be back next week, same time, same place to do it all over again. It's the morning show. I'll be back right after this.
This message brought to you by ZIZ and the Fire Department of St. Kitts and Nevis.
I am Woman Fire Officer Mavis White Archibald with your safety tip for today. Did you know that if a fire starts in your home, you may have as little as 2 minutes to escape? During a fire, early warning from a working smoke alarm plus a fire escape plan that has been practiced regularly can save